Hello and welcome to Tierp Arena, an awesome drag racing track and very nice facilities here in Sweden. In this video I'm gonna focus more about the cars and not so much about the competition, especially the turbo cars, because I think the Scandinavians have some crazy and innovative ideas how to build cars and engines in general. Turbo lurking in there, and this is actually one of the coolest cars I think here, this Opel Ascona with an Opel engine, but everything billet here, billet cylinder head, billet engine block, but I think it's still water cooled. You can see some plate there. This one has 1455 horsepower and a lot of very nice machining. The billet intake manifold. You can see the charge pipe coming from inside the car on this side here, so they have the intercooler inside there. A lot of nice fabrication, welding, and yeah, also some milling of the flange there of the turbo to make it lighter. Twin wastegates. I think the boost control is over here. It has the dry sump, of course. The dry sump tank here looks like it's custom made here as well. A lot of custom made parts on this one. Maybe still using the stock front suspension parts there. There's the big Siemens injectors over there, E85. It's an Holset HX60 turbo. Yeah, and here we have the water reservoir, so it is water cooled. Very nice build and attention to details. Best time of this one is 7:23. Nice front brakes there, exhaust and body looking very nice here. It's a 2.2 liter engine. And here we have the big intercooler. It's the tank in the same here, I think. And fire suppression system. Some gauges, carbon fiber. Still have the bumpers here. The steel one, I think, for the 9-inch rear end. I think the gearbox is a 5-speed Liberty. And the door handles here, steel ones. Same with the mirrors. You can open the door here, check in. Very nice cockpit, boost pressure. And here we have the shifter. It's a 5-speed one. And here in the middle is the fuel tank. Actually, it is an mechanical fuel pump under there, belt driven. We have the fuel filter and then directly to the fuel rail. So it's good with the short system, long runners and nice bands. Unfortunately, this engine is broken right now. Maybe some piston pain or something like that. They had some bad sound from the engine, so it's not going to run anymore this weekend. Here we have a Volvo C70. And it has the Volvo engine still there, but it's a 4-cylinder. It's a 16-valve engine, like a Volvo 740 engine. It's de-stroked to 2.1 liter, and the engine block is still the stock cast block there. It is epoxy filled right now, and it has some water in the cylinder head there. Here is the water tank for it. Turbo here, it's a 91mm turbo. And at the starting line it puts out about 3 bars of boost off the line and about 4.7 bar over the finish line, and it makes about 1500 horsepower. They have broken a lot of these engine blocks in the past when they had the regular block filler, but now it's probably working a little bit better with the epoxy here. And it's really cool that this engine has about 130 horsepower from the beginning and now making 1500. They had a little problem with the intake air temp that was high, so they installed these ones. some new additional injector holder there with some smaller injectors, maybe 800 cc's, that put in a little bit of methanol. And now I think the air temp is from before 100 to about 40-50, something like that. The intake manifold, it's a lot of thoughts and design behind this one, looking really good and nice. Golden runners there. Interior of the car, it's a Liberty 5-speed one. Here's the oil tank, and here's an warmer actually to they warm the oil before running, so no warming up the engine with it running needed. That's a smart thing. Wastegate valve here with a PP word, a little modified spacer there to make it longer spring. I think this one as well have the exhaust, I think, for equal length going to one pipe that goes to the turbo. We have the wastegate down there. Really nice color of this one after the welding. Here we also have some old mil-spec connectors. Looked like this in old military and airplanes. They actually don't have the fuel tech dash on the front there. They have it on the side here with the electrical system. There are some tools also, good for working on the gearbox, I think. This is Matias Stenstrom, ex-Pro Stock car with an Hemi 4 banger, it says here. That is really cool. The engine here is actually the only engine in the world that is in this configuration. The block is originally a top fuel block, TFX block, but as you can see, it only have 4 cylinders. The one bank here, it's removed, it's milled off, and it's a cover plate on there. Very cool and special. The crankshaft inside there, it's a special one. They machined them, made themselves. Rods and pistons are similar to the stock ones. The head, everything inside is BAE head, and everything is as the top fuel car actually. Intake manifold, it's a billet one. 4 Siemens injectors on each cylinder there. Aromatic fuel pressure regulator. And it's putting out 15,000 cc of fuel in each cylinder, so a lot of fuel there. We have the turbo here, exhaust manifold. It's 4 to 1 exhaust here. The turbo, it is a 98mm turbo, and it's about 2000 horsepower out of this one right now, but it is possible to take out more power if needed in the future. One cool thing is that this car is actually also competing to be the quickest 4-cylinder car in the world. It has been the quickest in the world, with the best time is 6:23, and the fastest one right now is 6:20. It's an Australian built Mitsubishi Eclipse with 4G63 engine, and I think also there's one that have 6:21, American car, and one that have 6:22. From a car from Trinidad and Tobago, if I remember correctly. It's very tight there at around 6:20. The oil pan is of course special made there, welded aluminum. We have the crank trigger in the front there, and the dry sump oil tank, and the mechanical fuel pump is in the front there. Also some sensors, LVDTs on the suspension there for logging, and the engine management and the logger system of this one is the Fuel Tech FT600. It's a very big fuel rail here, and for these many injectors it has an extra injector drive. Here we have a CDI box for the ignition system, capacitive discharge ignition, and the ignition coils is here on the side. Some brakes, solenoids, line lock solenoids. We have the fuel filter here, and the chassis is looking really good. It's made in US for Pro Stock originally. Nice and small fuel tank here in the front. Unfortunately, they had some valve train problem at this event, so I have no footage from the track, but it will come another time. Here we have the interior of the car. The dash there, carbon fiber. Actually the whole body here is carbon fiber. And this car only have 3 buttons. 2 buttons here in the roof and 1 on the steering wheel for the line lock there. Keep it simple. Gearbox is a Liberty transmission, and it has a Leanders Swedish made clutch there. Very nice parts. Brakes front to back is carbon fiber ones. Also the battery is lithium battery, so keep it as light as possible. And by the way, the engine volume of this 4-cylinder is 3.9 liters, so it's pretty big to be a 4-cylinder car. Here we have an Audi that's looking pretty stock. No, not really. This is Jens Eklund that I remember from many years ago when I was driving on a drag strip in my Supra. He had an Audi S4 4-wheel drive one, more street car. He have moved on to build a drag car. The engine is still the 5-cylinder. Very good sounding engine, and this one makes a lot of horsepower. I think a little bit over 1,500 horsepower from this one. Has the billet intake, but I think the cylinder head and block is still the stock ones. Very nice everything here. Still have some of the stock Audi body panels and lights, and actually some inner fenders here, carbon fiber one, not that usual on drag cars. That's nice. Some exhaust gas temperature sensors, so you can see how the car is going and if there is some variation between the cylinders. The turbo here, it's an 88mm Borg Warner, and it is running on methanol. Siemens injectors, 2400 cc ones, 3 on each cylinder. Little special fuel rails there. Looking cool. Yeah, a small alternator there as well. We have the dash here. It's a little stock looking one that's made of carbon fiber instead. The power, as I told you, it was 1,500, and the limiting factor of this car right now, it's the engine block. It's a stock cast iron block there, and I think in the last competition they broke the block in 2 pieces, in half. So now they're a little bit down on power to make this one work. And they're working now on a billet block for next season. So then they can hopefully put more power to this car. They're running the fuel tech engine management system, and they have a lot of sensors, control. Here we have a sensor on the front suspension. It has a built-in G sensor and many sensors, and it's easy to understand, so they can improve on the times. And the body of this car is the stock one, it's the steel one. Only the roof here, it's carbon fiber, and the doors. So it's a heavy one. Here we have a Camaro with a Toyota Supra engine, the famous 2J that is possible to produce a lot of horsepower. This one is running here and precision 98mm Pro Mod turbo, about 5 bars of boost. It uses a Massworks billet engine block here to hold up for that power, and a cast cylinder head. Methanol fuel, of course, and they have some of these extra injectors here in the charge pipe. Pretty small injectors there, but they're good for cooling. The bigger injectors, atomizers maybe there in the intake manifold. Some sensors for logging on the suspension there. Also the fire extinguisher bottle there. Dry sump oil pump. It is an Autoverdi made in Sweden. Very good innovative oil pumps that you can see in high-end drag racing cars and NASCAR and the racing cars all over the world. They had problem before with the original cast iron block. It cracked at 5 bars of boost, but with this billet block it holds up very good. Little special looking exhaust manifold, pretty short runners there going into one single large pipe there that goes into the turbo. I've seen that on many cars here that makes a lot of horsepower, turbo cars, so I think that could be a good thing maybe. Best time for this Camaro with 2J is 6:21. Here we have another Volvo. This is a Volvo C70 with carbon fiber. I think the whole body is carbon fiber. Interior, but the cool thing with this one I think is the engine. It is like a Volvo 740 engine. It's the 16 valve, and the valve cover looks like it's stock, and this one is maybe from a Volvo B20, a little bit older Volvo. But everything else, I think, inside this engine is special. Billet everything. The engine is 2.75 liters, I think. The turbo here, it is a 98mm Borg-Warner turbo. And it is about 4 bar of boost in the top end and makes that power about 1800 horsepower. And it's capable of more actually, so not utilizing all the power at this time. It has a huge air-to-air intercooler here. Nice machining. I think you can see here maybe the company that made the engine, Halvarsson Racing. The intake manifold, it's welded aluminum. A lot of welds on this one. I suspect it's maybe cracked one time because it's a lot of welder repaired. ECU, it's a Vipec ECU, looks like. You get an AccuSump for the oil. You can see some weights here, so this is a little bit too light I think, and then they can choose where they want to have the weight. Oil pump here, normal run oil filter. They run their personal best yesterday actually, 6:59. Yeah, that's really fast with a 4-cylinder. Gearbox here, it's a Liberty 5-speed. And the driver of this car is Per Eriksson. Here we have an Camaro from Finland, orange one. And this is a turbo, so I think it's cool. And the engine of this one, it's a very nice American Proline engine with electronic fuel injection. And yeah, the first thing that caught me was these fuel rails are huge, very big one. I don't think I've seen bigger fuel rails than this before. And the injectors here, they are atomizers, 750 pounds. 2 on each cylinders, so it's about 15,000 cc's for each cylinders. The turbos here, they are 88mm, twin of them, precision turbos.
You can see the exhaust manifold here, exhaust temperature sensors there. Very nice billet intake here. Expert. We have this engine plate. It is actually in steel, this one. That's because the weight. They have one in aluminum as well, but the car needs to weigh a certain weight for this class, so they can have some weight in the front. In the front here we have the fuel tank. We have the fuel inlet going there to the mechanical fuel pump, and from the fuel pump goes to the fuel filter to this fuel rail. The huge ones, as I told you, go round back to the regulator. We have a well-done fuel pressure regulator there, and back to the tank. And this one actually do not have a dry sump system. It has the wet sump. You can see the sump over there. So one of the reasons it do not need to have the dry sump is because it makes enough power. It's not like the highly tuned like pro stock cars that need to have the dry sump to make maximum horsepower out of the engine, and it makes the setup a little bit more simple actually, with less parts outside of the engine. I think here we have a little block off for the magnetos was supposed to be there. Now we have the ignition coils over here, 4 on this side, 4 on this side. The crankcase ventilation on these chassis I think is really cool. We have the crankcase going here from the cylinder head to goes here to the chassis, and the crankcase gases goes through the chassis back to the car, and they have some can in the back there. That's really cool to utilize what you have in the car. Here also is the oil filter. They have a hex drive here to turn the oil, so they can turn up oil pressure and move the oil around before they start it.
And we have the interior of the car, and by the way, it has about 3,300 horsepower in this one. We have the steering wheel with some buttons. It's for staging, I think. The gearbox here, it's an automatic. It's an TH400 gearbox. And here we have the fuel tech logger and the display dash there. And the good thing about the fuel tech there is that they can adjust the tune. They can adjust it actually in the lineup just before the start when they went out. And usually if they see the track goes better or goes worse, they can adjust the power. And they're not adjusting the boost actually. The boost is always the same. And if they see the track gets a little bit worse, they maybe reduce the timing with 2 degrees. So it's easy to do and fast, so that's good. You don't need to have a computer for that. Covering up the turbos with some yeah, thank you for showing me the car.
Suzuki Motorcycle, and it's an engine originally from '84, an old one with a Garrett turbocharger here, electronic fuel injection. You can see it's an YPEC ECU over there, and outputs about 800 horsepower from this one. After the race, they take out the methanol fuel and put in the normal gasoline and runs through the system. So it's not that aggressive for fuel system components there. Suzuki. And yeah, drag racing is hard on parts. And you block many pieces.
And truck with some extra gauges here. It looks a little bit suspicious, and that's because it got a jet engine back here. An old Swedish Air Force fighter jet engine. But the exhaust is a little bit special going down here, because this one is made to dry the track. When it's raining, they can quickly dry the track so we can start drag racing again. And here you can see an ignition box, 10 box it says in Swedish, and we have the oil tank on the side here. You can check the oil level, and I think the intake is inside here, maybe some air filters inside. Don't know much about this one, but it looks like this one is in maybe a transportation cradle. I don't know if they built the cradle or if it is the transportation. I think so. The engine here is installed in some rubber mounts that you can see here. It's very important when you transport these kind of gas turbine engines that they don't get any shocks. You can never transport an engine like this on trains because it damages the ball bearings. You always have to transport by road and with rubber tires. Here you can also see the difference between the airplane welds and the bolted on part they have here. Not really airplane grade welding, but very cool. Some valves and other components here, tightly packed here. This sensor do not look like a stock airplane sensor. It looks like an oil pressure sensor maybe. You can see the Swedish words for oil cooler, starting valve there. Very efficient to dry the truck, but I bet it takes a lot of fuel, jet fuel or diesel fuel maybe. Here we have an Nissan 300 CX. These guys are from Estonia and they're actually aiming to be the fastest import car in Europe. The engine, it's an V6 based of the 350C engine. It got a billet block here, and this one was before twin turbo. Now they are running a single turbo setup. You can see the exhaust manifold left hand bank here going over to the other side, and the turbo of this one is huge. It's a 106mm turbo, and it got a aluminium downpipe exhaust pipe here. As you can see, we're running methanol, that's okay. Wastegate here, it's a turbo smart wastegate, and here you can see some sensors. This is a position sensor. Also there is a pressure sensor, so they know exactly what the wastegate are doing, what how much it is open and what pressure is inside the wastegate. And even though they're running methanol on this car, it have a big intercooler here in the front. And the biggest reason for that actually is the car is a little bit too light for the classes it's running, so it need to have weight, and it's good to have some weight in the front. And this intercooler, it's a big one, water to air, and it has a water tank inside of it. And the water pump here, it's built in, very neat and nice installation there. And here on the charge pipe we have actually a wastegate, but it's not used for a wastegate, it's a spool valve. And it is good for spinning up the turbo faster and make boost faster off the line. Actually, this function has been in airplane engines, turbine engines for many years. When starting up a gas turbine airplane engine, they have a starter valve that is open, so it just dumps out exactly like this one. This is not used much in normal street cars, but in drag racing it's becoming more and more popular. Even with the engines with very small capacity and a big turbo, you can get into surge. Then you can use these kind of valves to dump some air out here. It's also possible to use electronic throttle bodies that just dumps the air out. I've seen some cars, not here at the Tierp, but other cars for the same function. Also, this one have a position sensor on it and solenoid valve to control it from the ECU. So at the start line, when building boost, this is fully open, dumping the air, and when you have the correct boost and you get the green light, the valve is closing and you have the full boost into the system, into the engine, and the turbo is up to speed, even though this huge 106mm turbo.
And this car has actually, you can see here's the radiator. It has water in, not in the block, but in the cylinder head it is water. We could open it up, and it has the Haltech ECUs, very small steering wheel. It has a Lenco transmission here. Here we have the 300CX, the front of the car. We have a ProMod turbo car, twin turbo, and it had some carnage. Connecting rod, oil pan is a bit damaged there, and they say the crankshaft is the problem. See parts all over. Here is also a burst plate. If it backfires or too much pressure in the intake, this plate bursts and opens up there. And here you have electrical connector as well. I know that if that happens, it shoots the parachutes and maybe shuts off the car at the same time. So that's a safety feature.
If you like drag racing and want to see cool cars in the pits, I could really recommend this Tierp Arena. They're running a couple events every summer. Thanks for watching.